Theodore Schultz was a computer expert. From a young age, he was fascinated by the intricate workings of technology. His fingers danced across keyboards, effortlessly weaving complex code. He found solace in the digital world, where logic reigned supreme. Theodore's sanctuary was his workshop, a haven filled with blinking monitors and humming servers. At the heart of it all was the Omega 1700, a state-of-the-art multimedia AI computer. The Omega 1700 was Theodore's pride and joy. Its processing power was unmatched, capable of handling the most demanding tasks with ease. Theodore had spent countless hours customizing the Omega 1700, optimizing its performance and expanding its capabilities. He had even developed a unique programming language specifically for the machine, allowing him to communicate with it on an almost intuitive level. The bond between Theodore and the Omega 1700 was unbreakable, a testament to their shared passion for the digital realm. Theodore's expertise did not go unnoticed. Banks, eager to bolster their security systems, sought his services. They entrusted him with the task of fortifying their defenses against the ever-present threat of cyber attacks. Theodore accepted these challenges with relish, seeing them as puzzles to be solved. He meticulously analyzed network vulnerabilities, implemented firewalls, and designed intrusion detection systems that could outsmart even the most cunning hackers. One fateful week, Theodore found himself working on a particularly challenging assignment. He had been contracted by 4 different bank branches to upgrade their security systems. Each branch had its unique requirements, demanding Theodore's full attention and expertise. He spent days on end hunched over his keyboard, his mind consumed by the intricacies of each bank's network. Little did he know that his work would soon attract unwanted attention, plunging him into a terrifying ordeal. Theodore worked tirelessly, day and night, to complete his task. He was oblivious to the danger lurking outside his workshop. Unbeknownst to him, a group of desperate criminals had been monitoring his every move. These were no ordinary thieves. They were seasoned bank robbers, their reputation preceding them. They had meticulously planned their next heist, targeting the 4 branches Theodore had been fortifying. The robbers knew that conventional methods would be useless against Theodore's advanced security measures. They needed an edge, a way to bypass the intricate systems he had put in place. Their solution was as simple as it was audacious. Kidnap Theodore and force him to disable the very defenses he had worked so hard to create. They watched his movements, patiently waiting for the opportune moment to strike. As Theodore put the finishing touches on his work, a sense of unease washed over him. He couldn't shake off the feeling that he was being watched. He dismissed it as paranoia, the byproduct of countless hours spent in the digital world. He packed up his equipment, eager to return home after a long and arduous week. As he exited the last bank branch, a black van screeched to a halt beside him. The side door slid open, revealing 3 masked figures. Before Theodore could react, he was grabbed, a hand covering his mouth, stifling his cries for help. He was dragged into the van, the smell of stale cigarettes and desperation filling his nostrils. The door slammed shut, plunging him into darkness. Theodore found himself bound and gagged in the back of the van. Fear coursed through his veins, but his analytical mind began to assess the situation. He listened intently to the muffled conversation of his captors. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices laced with a mixture of anxiety and excitement. Theodore strained to make sense of their words, piecing together fragments of their plan. They were headed to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, a place isolated enough to carry out their nefarious deeds. Theodore knew he had to act fast. He was their key to unlocking the fortune stored within the bank vaults. He had to find a way to outsmart them, to turn their desperation against them. His mind raced, searching for any vulnerability, any weakness he could exploit. The van lurched to a stop, throwing Theodore against the cold metal wall. He was dragged out, his captor's grip tightening on his arms. They hustled him into the warehouse, a cavernous space filled with shadows and the musty scent of decay.
Listen up, computer boy. We know what you can do. We need you to disable the security systems at those banks. Cooperate, and you might make it out of here alive. Cross us, and you'll regret it.
Theodore, his heart pounding in his chest, knew he had stumbled into a desperate and dangerous game. Theodore, despite the fear gnawing at him, knew panicking wouldn't help. He had to think clearly, strategically. He needed a plan, and fast. His eyes darted around the warehouse, searching for anything that could aid him. It was then he noticed a glimmer of hope, a single dusty power outlet in the far corner.
"Please," Theodore choked out, his words muffled by the gag. The robbers exchanged surprised glances.
"Water," he mumbled, hoping they would understand. One of the robbers, a scrawny man with nervous eyes, brought him a bottle. As he drank, Theodore subtly maneuvered himself closer to the power outlet.
"My laptop," Theodore managed to say after clearing his throat, pointing towards his bag with his chin. "Need it to work." The leader, after a moment of hesitation, nodded. The scrawny robber tossed Theodore his backpack.
With his hands tied, Theodore used his teeth to unzip the bag and retrieve his laptop. The robbers watched him closely as he plugged in his laptop and began typing furiously, his brow furrowed in concentration. They were oblivious to the digital battlefield he was waging right under their noses. Theodore wasn't disabling the security systems. He was accessing them, turning their own network against them. Theodore, working with a speed he never knew he possessed, navigated through the bank's security system. He activated silent alarms, discreetly alerting the authorities of their location. He rerouted surveillance feeds, providing real-time footage of the robbers' activities to the police. Theodore, the unassuming computer whiz, was single-handedly turning the tide.
While Theodore's fingers danced across the keyboard, he subtly manipulated the warehouse's environment. He hacked into the building's outdated control system, flickering the lights to disorient his captors. He amplified the sound of distant sirens, creating an illusion of an imminent police arrival.
The robbers, their nerves already frayed, started to panic.
"The cops!" one of them shouted, his voice high-pitched with fear. "They're on to us!"
Panic spread through the group like wildfire. They scrambled towards the exits, their carefully laid plans crumbling around them. They had underestimated their captive, dismissing him as a mere computer geek. They were about to learn a harsh lesson. As the warehouse doors burst open, blinding lights flooded the space. A swarm of police officers stormed in, apprehending the disoriented robbers. Theodore, still bound but with a triumphant glint in his eyes, watched as justice was served. The police cut him free, thanking him for his bravery and quick thinking. The news of Theodore's daring escape and the subsequent capture of the robbers spread like wildfire. He became an overnight sensation, hailed as a hero by the media. His story resonated with people, a testament to the power of ingenuity and courage in the face of adversity. Theodore, thrust into the limelight, found himself the subject of numerous interviews and news articles. Despite the adulation, Theodore remained grounded. He knew that his ordeal was not a victory to be celebrated, but a stark reminder of the importance of vigilance and preparedness.
He used his newfound platform to advocate for cybersecurity awareness, urging individuals and organizations to take proactive measures to protect themselves in an increasingly digital world.
The experience had a profound impact on Theodore. It had tested his limits, forcing him to confront his fears and harness his skills in ways he never thought possible. He emerged from the ordeal not just a computer expert, but a survivor, his resolve tempered by fire. Theodore Schultz, the once unassuming computer nerd, had found his calling, a path that led him beyond the confines of his digital sanctuary and into the heart of a world in desperate need of his unique talents.